I created a playable level, in particular a first-person shooter, and published it. You will find the link in the description. After a playtest phase, during which about 200 players played it, I had some good reviews and advice for further development. So I identified 10 level design tips that I now want to tell you. It's a level lasting about 5 minutes, has a very simple linear structure, with 4 areas: a warehouse, laboratories, a control room and an arena for the final boss fight. First area, the warehouse. There are medium to long range fights here. I placed multiple routes from which enemies can arrive, which, except the first two, arrive in 2 successive waves as the player advances into the warehouse. In this case, I put 2 types of enemies. Some attack only closely with a very weak attack, but which are dangerous in a group and should not be brought closer, while others attacked from a very distance and with a stronger attack and require more use of covers. I included what are called environmental hazards, areas where there are dangers for the player and towards which the player must be very careful. In this case, I used areas invaded by lava. Let's move on to the second area, the laboratories. We must always try to make the transition from one area to another interesting. In this case, from the warehouse to the laboratories, I put glass windows, which reveal capsules with creatures inside. This creates interest in the player. In addition, through the glass window, you can also see a weapon to be recovered, which thus represents the reward to be achieved, which at this moment the player cannot immediately take, and must therefore find the way to get there. In the central part of the laboratories area, it's the environment itself that tells us the simple story, around which I created this level. The creatures arriving through the portal are used in the Gore experiments, where they are transformed into cybernetic soldiers. We arrive at the third area, the control room. Here you monitor the area where the portal is located. In this area the player will find both the jetpack, useful in the fight with the final boss, and the grenade launcher, the most powerful weapon in the level. To make it more interesting, as soon as the player finds the jetpack, he will see a small room above him, lit to attract his attention, as if it were a bait. Once reached, it will be empty. At this point the player, turning to go back, will see the grenade launcher, and the disappointment will switch into gratification. Then I inserted interactive elements, which typically create interest in the player. There is a lever which, when pulled, activates a defense turret in the arena. There is a small ambush, which is triggered as soon as the player approaches the door to exit the control room. Now again, to make the transition to the next area interesting, I added the vista on the arena to create expectation in the player as well. I inserted elements managed by a simple artificial intelligence which help the player. In fact, in the arena I inserted 2 defense turrets, which will help the player in the final fight. In the story of the level, they protect the area from creatures that could come out of the portal. These are 10 tips that I've given you, that can be useful to make a single player video game fun. If you want more videos to deepen some aspects, let me know with a comment below. To stay up to date on upcoming videos, subscribe to the channel.